Hi there, I am in Psalm 81 this morning, so grab your Bibles, open them up. I am going to read this as I get started, and then I will share just the lesson that I pulled out of this psalm that I'm going to be taking with me as I continue to make my way through the rest of the Psalms. Psalm 81 says, "Sing for joy to God our strength. Shout in triumph to the God of Jacob. Lift a song, play the tambourine, the melodious lyre, and the harp. Blow the horn on the day of our feast, during the new moon, during the full moon. For this is a statute for Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. He set it up as a decree for Joseph when he went through the land of Egypt. I heard an unfamiliar language. I relieved his shoulder from the burden. His hands were freed from carrying the basket. You called out in distress, and I rescued you. I answered you from the thunder cloud. I tested you at the waters of Meribah. Listen, my people, and I will admonish you, Israel, if you would only listen to me. There must not be a strange God among you. You must not bow down to foreign gods. I am the Lord your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people did not listen to my voice. Israel did not obey me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts to follow their own plans. If only my people would listen to me and Israel would follow my ways, I would quickly subdue their enemies and turn my hand against their foes. Those who hate the Lord would cower to him. Their doom would last forever. But he would feed Israel with the best wheat. I would satisfy you with honey from the rocks." Psalm 81 opens with an invitation to join in. Sing for joy to God, our strength. Shout in triumph to the God of Jacob. Lift up a song. This would have been a song that was sung during the many feasts that you hear reference to among the people, a congregational song that they would have celebrated together. And as much as it is an invitation to come and celebrate, it is also an invitation to remember who God is. The psalmist recalls the story of the Exodus, saying, "You, the people, called out in distress, and I rescued you." Isn't it amazing that God hears us when we call out to him? When we bow in prayer, he hears the words that we say, and when we have no words, he hears our heart. And then he moves at prayer and at our request. He moves. In the time of the Exodus, God's power was put on display for the world to see. They still talk about it today, the miracles of the Exodus and the splitting of the Red Sea. In verse 8, God calls for his people to listen to him and for them to put away their false gods. He is the one who brought them out of Egypt, not these false gods. If only they would listen to him, God pleads. I think back to just the first and second commandments that these people would have had. They say, "You shall have no other God before me." And the second is like it. "You shall not make for yourself a carved image." The commandments are given back in Exodus 20, and they were well known and taught. Yet the people still chose to go astray. But my people did not listen to my voice. Israel did not obey me. This was Israel's downfall from the time of the Exodus to the time when Jerusalem fell and the Temple of Solomon was destroyed. Idolatry was their downfall, and it led to destruction. But before we go off and point fingers at them saying, how could they do that? Let us reflect on our own hearts and think where we might be doing the same. One thing to remember is that the people of Israel did worship God. They just also worshiped other idols. And God says, He and He alone. There are no other gods before me. He is a jealous God. And this is what we see in Israel. They did recognize the Lord. They just also worshiped many other idols. So we need to be careful of this in our own lives. Our idols may not be golden calves or Asherah poles or the many things that we see in Bible times, but we certainly do have them. And some of them are actually even what we consider to be good things, but when we place them above God, they become an idol. It is my prayer that God would guard my heart against this. I don't want anything to come between Him and me in this relationship. But I must also be vigilant and examine my heart to be sure that I am not placing anything in God's place above Him, even the good things. So let us listen to God's voice and keep Him first. That is what I'm taking away from this psalm, is just how important it is to keep God first. And I am reminded to be vigilant even in my own lives, because our idols don't look like the ones that they did in the Old Testament, but we certainly have them. Have a good day, and I will see you next time.